Hello, Kubrick Lover 1972 here, also known as Brian, of course. So, uh, let's see, how should I start this? Okay, let me say, just as I was starting the stream, I noticed when it says camera on YouTube and Creator Studio, I clicked on that and then I saw that you could schedule on that. You title the video there. You also title in the live streaming part of the YouTube, but when you get onto the camera thing, you type the title in, and then I guess you can set the time you're going to be on. But I didn't even know that. Maybe I did something wrong there because I see it on other people's channels. You can, like, people I subscribe to. I notice in my subscriptions when they leave a reminder when they're going to be on, and maybe that's where I'm supposed to do it. Anyways, here I am. I'm on. I'm going to show some film books. Nobody's here yet. Let's see. How should I? What else should I say here? Well, anyways, I've invited some people to come on. I let them know. What else do I? Let me see what I can talk about. So, um, like I was saying in my video earlier today, I I might do some work on some GarageBand songs this week. I'm not sure. Um, they can be time consuming. It's fun. It's nice. It takes a little time, you know. I guess everything takes time these days. But anyways, uh, maybe I'll wait until the 5 minute mark and then I'll start showing the books. Because nobody, at at least to my knowledge, nobody's on. It doesn't say in the where it shows an icon of people watching that says zero there. So, and I'm confused about something about Facebook, not Facebook, YouTube. I'm sorry, YouTube. Um, if it says zero, does that mean there's nobody watching, or does it mean that people that don't have channels are watching? So, but you don't know that they're zeros, and the only way you know that somebody's watching is because they have a channel. And if they don't leave comments in the chat, but they're watching, of course, I think that automatically registers them as a number, as part of a number of people watching. Um, but I don't know if people that don't have YouTube channels that just surf YouTube and don't have a channel, and they come across a live stream like this and they're watching it right now, whether or not that those viewers are counted in who's watching the video right now. So for all I know, I mean, I put this notice up on Facebook as well, my YouTube video about me being on at 8 o'clock tonight. For all I know, some people that are on Facebook that I know, um, they might not have a YouTube channel, and they might. Somebody's on now, I think. Yes, one person I see so far. I don't know who. Oh, hey, Sasha. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Um, yeah, so Sasha, I was just saying, I didn't know if people that don't have their own YouTube channels, if if they're counted what on the live stream as actual people, or if it has to be a channel. So I have no idea whether or not when it says zero, if people are watching or not. I've no idea. I'll say also, Sasha. Last night I think you asked me about Walter Murch or something. I'm not sure, but I think I mentioned a few streams back that I had Walter Murch books, and the last box, was it yesterday or was it the day before? It was the day before. Oh yeah, because last night I was on a stream with you. Yes, so it must have. Yeah, it was the day before. I did find a Walter Murch book. Oh hey Nigor. I did find a Walter Murch book, and I saved it for the end because I didn't know if you'd be here, Sasha. So but that was autographed. It was in the blink of an eye. But okay, so I guess I'll get going here. Um, let's see, where should we start? Okay, we'll start with this. Of course, tonight's stream is more film books. Um, some of these I picked up at the library where I work. I don't know when I'm going to read these books, but this is by Orson Welles and Peter Bogdanovich. It's called This is Orson Welles. So, anyways, it's got some pictures in here. Uh, let's see. Yeah, like him. Orson Welles as Falstaff in Chimes of Midnight. Oh, hey, horror devil, horror DVD devil. Okay, so 3 people now. Okay, so I was just showing this book, Peter Bogdanovich and Orson Welles writing. This is Orson Welles. That's the first book I'm showing of my film books. Next up, we got this book. I don't know if this is the book that I'm thinking of. I mean, it's a book on Chaplin. There's this, like I showed a few days ago, I showed this book on Hitchcock, which was exhaustive. I mean, it was huge. And that's why I bought it. They had this Hitchcock book at the library, and it was like 700 pages or something. And I thought, why not buy it? Because it'll take forever to read. And I won't, even though I don't pay fines because I work at the library, I said to myself, just buy it off of Amazon. I can get it cheap. It got a little damaged, but I guess, I mean, friends of mine have said that Amazon the shipping is what gets you, makes it go up more. But anyways, I'm glad to have that. There's another Hitchcock Criterion that I want to buy, but anyways, so I have that Hitchcock biography. At some point, I would like to read it. This is a Charlie Chaplin autobiography. My brother had a Chaplin, a biography about Chaplin. I am not sure if this is the same book or it's a different book. Anyways, that's probably the Chaplin book I'd like to read. That huge Chaplin book. I think I own it. I don't know if this one is the exact same book, but Chaplin, anyways. So this is Gerald Mast, Film, Cinema, Movie, A Theory of Experience. Sasha was mentioning to me, like, film and movie are 2 separate things. I don't know, maybe that's what this addresses. Film / cinema / movie, A Theory of Experience by Gerald Mast. So I don't think there's any pictures in here. Maybe there's some pictures in this I think there's some pictures in this Chaplin book. Let's see. Oops. So. Oh, really? You think Una Chapman is? Okay. Oh, you're watching Shrek 2? Oh, eBay. Well, I bought some stuff off of eBay, like some movies, and I can't remember if I've bought a book off of eBay. I can't recall. Anyways, this is Writing the Second Act, Building Conflict and Tension in Your Film Script by Michael Halperin. I think this is, when I look into my computer and I look at the writing looks backwards, but I think you guys, when you see it from your end, you're seeing it in the right way. You're reading it right, I think. I think that's the way it goes. But to me, it looks backwards. But I think it looks correct when you're watching it. It doesn't look it doesn't look backwards. This is Filmmakers on Filmmaking, the American Film Institute Seminars on Motion Pictures and Television, edited by Joseph McBride, Volume 1. Hal Wallace, Richard Zanuck, David Brown, Ingmar Bergman, Billy Wilder, IAL Diamond, who I think works with Billy Wilder on Some Like It Hot, I think. I'm correct on that. Sidney Poitier, Lucille Ball, James Wong Howe. He's I think a legendary cinematographer. Leonard Rosenman, I don't know that name. Polly Platt. Verna Fields edited Jaws. Probably saved that movie because oh, thank you, Horror DVD Devil, about the guitar video. Verna Fields edited Jaws, and they had problems with the shark when they made the movie. And I think, well, not but the score of Jaws probably helped, but also the fact that the editing helped. Showing things from the point of view of Jaws. So Andrea Silbert and Sue Mengers. I don't know if this no. Well, yeah, like there's a picture of Verna Fields there. So next up, we have The Craft of the Screenwriter by John Brady. Patty Chayefsky. Now, I think he wrote On the Waterfront, but I'm not positive on that. William Goldman. Did Goldman write Princess Bride? I'm not sure. Ernest Lehman, of course, wrote North by Northwest and Sound of Music. Paul Schrader, Taxi Driver, Raging Bull. Neil Simon, who's a playwright, of course, and then Robert Towne, who wrote Chinatown. And he also saved Godfather. There was a particular, Coppola needed some added scenes in Godfather to make the film better. And usually in the case of making movies, I think the director should have the authority to decide what to keep and what to leave out. And the producer, Robert Evans, he told Coppola, he told him to take a skeleton crew and go to Sicily and film. It was like Michael's wedding, Al Pacino's character's wedding in the film, to a Sicilian girl, and it actually improved the film. But I think Francis Ford Coppola, he didn't want he didn't want to do it initially. So, but I guess it saved the film. So, or made it a better film. Maybe that's the way to put it. I don't know if this book is too dated, but it's Screenwriting on the Internet. Researching, writing, and selling your script on the web by Christopher Weiner. I think this is a Michael Weiss book. Who his company makes. Right here there are like agents you can contact, but who knows? I mean, this must be dated. The internet probably is a better source of this kind of stuff. Maybe there's some advice you can take from this that still is viable. This is Shaking the Money Tree, how to get grants and donations for film and television, by Mary Warshawski. It's there's a rake cleaning up dollar bills like they're leaves. So yeah. This one, I don't know if it's a totally professional book, but I think it looks really cool, and you can really do some cool things with it, I think. I don't know. I want to make a film one day and do stuff with it, and maybe I can cut corners by using a book like this, which is 303 digital filmmaking solutions, solve any video shoot or edit problem in 10 minutes or less. So And there are pictures here. And like I was saying a few nights ago, sometimes you don't need CGI. You can work with practical effects. All that matters is not how expensive the effect is. I do have Robert McKee. I'm going to show it. It's not how expensive the film is. It's how convincing it is. Okay, so here's another screenwriting book by James Ryan, Screenwriting from the Heart, the Technique of the Character-Driven Screenplay. Some of these books are not going to have pictures, like the screenwriting ones, I don't think, And of course, some of them offer screenplay, a screenplay in it or portions of a screenplay. Speaking of The Godfather, I have this book. I think it's just a picture book. I think I bought this at Barnes and Noble. I don't know where I got this, to be honest. I can't remember. So it's probably more reliant on pictures than there's the infamous Godfather 3. What was I saying? I can't remember. It's just more pictures. I guess that's what I was saying. So, okay, let's see what's next. This I picked up at the Burns from, I guess he managed to find great films and make them. Yes, yeah. There's Goldfinger. There's A Hard Day's Night. He managed to find these great filmmakers and films. Fellini, Bananas by Woody Allen, Ingmar Bergman, Truman Capote. Who else? Is that Russ Meyer? I think it's Russ Meyer. Midnight Cowboy. It's a guy named David Picker. He worked in the movie industry. I recall, I think they said at the event that he served in 3 different studios. One was UA, United Artists. And there were 2 other movie studios he worked for. But maybe he had the Midas touch. He could turn things to gold, if you know what I mean. Paul McCartney leaves a quote here. Norman Lear leaves a quote here. Norman Lear, he did All in the Family. Steve Martin leaves a quote here. Woody Allen. So, yeah, I think his book is about, how he managed to pick the right films at the right time and create all these fantastic films, got them out there, Well, the thing about Godfather 3, Sasha, is that it was nominated for Best Picture, but it's probably just nominated because it's The Godfather, But maybe it's not too bad a film. I don't know, but it really doesn't match up to Godfather 1 and 2. Those are way better. This one's a book called Setting Up Your Shots. Great Camera Moves Every Filmmaker Should Know by Jeremy Vineyard. So I think it shows examples of various films, if I'm not mistaken, or is it not? I don't know. Shows you how to do shots, what they're called, how I don't know. Just the grammar of filmmaking, I guess you could say. Cross-cut, freeze frame, multi-take, cut, zoom out, jump cut sequence. So I think that's a Michael Weiss book, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. I have a lot of Michael Weiss books. Yeah, I don't know. Godfather 3, I guess it's not a terrible movie. It's not one of the worst movies ever made, but when you compare it to Godfather 1 and 2, it's just, I don't know. It's like Sasha, it's like when you were talking about Indiana Jones, like the first three were fine. They go out in the sunset at the end, and you said like the Crystal Skull would be a coaster, So I don't know. Here's another book, Master Chef by Christopher Kenworthy. It's another Michael Weiss. Oh. Let me see if I can get this. So it just how to frame your shots. I guess. Yeah. I mean, it's showing like computerized, like how to do it on a pre-visualization, and then what the actual shot would actually look like, and like where the camera would be, where the actors would walk, all that kind of stuff, Here's The Shining, for example. When Halloran comes back to the hotel, that's what it's addressing. Oh, and Sasha just put up a video, I see. Okay. I'd like to read this book. I don't know why. Well, I don't know. There's so many things to do. I don't know. But it looks really compelling reading. Writing Movies, a practical guide to creating stellar screenplays. Gotham Writers Workshop, edited by Alexander Steele. Gotham Writers Workshop is centered, I believe, in New York City. They have classes or workshops or whatever. But this is like the product, a product of theirs to help you write movies. Film lighting, talks with Hollywood cinematographers and gaffers. Gaffers are people that I've worked on some film sets, but a gaffer is a person that, like when you set up lights in a person's house or a building, they're the people that they've got to know how not to blast the fuse box if they put in really powerful lights. So, and microphones and stuff, because if they don't, that's not good. So that's what a gaffer does, So they profile people here. I'm just gonna highlight the ones I'm aware of. John Alonzo, I think Sasha knows about him. I think he did Scarface. Jordan Cronenweth, who of course who did Blade Runner. Alan Davio, who did E.T. Caleb Deschanel, who maybe he worked with Lynch on some films. I'm not sure about that. Conrad Hall, of course, did American Beauty. James Wong Howe is a famous old Hollywood cinematographer. Haskell Wexler, of course, did Medium Cool. And you got Vilmos Zsigmond, who I think, now, let me see. He did Close Encounters, I think. Of course, Close Encounters, if you look at the credits, you'll see that there's some of the other cinematographers that were involved with the film are big names. Like, I can't remember all the cinematographers. Laszlo Kovacs, I think, was one. Fraker, or there was a few other significant cinematographers. Like, I think one went to maybe India or something to do some of the shoot, or a second unit, but they're big name ones, So this is what an art director does: an introduction to motion picture production design by Ward Preston. An art director these days would be called a production designer. It's just a person that creates the sets. So I like having books that cover in filmmaking, not just screenwriting, directing, but everything. I like everything. I like to learn about everything. I mean, that's one reason why I like Kubrick so much, because he liked every facet of the filmmaking process. If you think about it, he did use classical music. He didn't use music that was scored for the film particularly, or sometimes it was the music, if it came from another source, was sort of molded to fit the film. But there's one filmmaker I can think of who did his own music for his film, and that, of course, is John Carpenter for Halloween, because I think his father had some background in music, So on my channel, I do GarageBand songs. I've thought of, I don't know when I'd ever do this, but if I made a movie, I could take those GarageBand files and use those, because I think movie composing is a little bit different than songs you hear on the radio, because it's trying to evoke a mood. Like a horror movie, you don't necessarily have to have a very melodic or harmonic kind of sound, if you know what I mean, So you're being innovative, and that's what that's the way you shake things up and change things and create new things in cinema, So these are just some production design here. I think this is this is I don't know what company this is. I can't read it. It's too tiny what the company is. Let's see. Where do we go from here? I'll get these two out of the way. They're not really totally relevant to movies, but they're in this box, so I'll talk about these. This is the GarageBand book. I work with a program on my Mac called GarageBand. I do music on it. What you're watching from right now is my MacBook Pro. Before I had this MacBook Pro, I had an iMac G3, and I did music on it, but I really didn't. I didn't have the guitars I have right now. I didn't have the MIDI keyboard. So what I did is basically I took loops, which were all like little riffs or little bits of a song, and joined them together and put other instruments below or above them and formed a song that way. And then I started doing my own music. I really don't know how to compose music. I only know a few things. Like tempo is supposed to be the speed. Time signature, I think, is the beat pattern. How to tune the guitar. But, I don't know everything. And I sort of, in a way, is more liberating not to know, because you come across ways of doing it that you would never think of if you were trained. But maybe I should train myself. Maybe I should learn the chords and all that. I don't know. I'm having fun with it though, So, but this is an old book, and probably, I don't know, maybe it's not updated to today's GarageBand standards. This is another book on GarageBand. I don't know if I'll ever look at these books. I just sort of do GarageBand by myself. This stuff might be outdated for all I know. Let's see, where do we go now? Okay, let's see. Okay. This book I've had for a while. Maybe it's dated. The Computer Video Maker Handbook. Now, some of this stuff might be relevant technology-wise, or not just just things you can do very cheaply. Um, but Video Maker, like, well, it's a magazine for people that, use video. Of course, you have other magazines. I think I'll try and show some of my magazines. Movie Maker, I haven't subscribed to it in a while. I haven't read it in a while. Some of these magazines are online these days, but I used to read Movie Maker a lot. I used to subscribe to American Cinematographer. Um, and when I was a kid, I subscribed to Cinemagic. Um, okay, see you later, Need Gore. So I used to subscribe to Cinemagic, which is a magazine for young people. It was geared towards young filmmakers, and basically their audience was like people that made science fiction, fantasy, or horror movies. It was a sister publication of Starlog, and which was a science fiction magazine, and they also had another magazine called Fangoria, which I think is still in existence as well. Which is a horror magazine. So, but Cinemagic only lasted for, I don't know, 7 years or something, and only had like 36 issues, like four issues a year. I do have all those issues. Maybe I'll try and show them in a future video. But anyways, going back to I have some Video Maker magazines, I think, still, but this is a book they published. So next, we have this book, How to Sell Your Screenplay, A Realistic Guide to Getting a Television or Film Deal, by Lydia Willen and Joan Willen. So I guess I don't know, they're sisters, or I don't know. I don't know how they're related. They must be related somehow, but it's just another book on screenwriting. So we're 37 minutes in. This is Crafty Screenwriting, Writing Movies That Get Made, by Alex Epstein. I was mentioning, I think it was my last video about Sid Field's screenplay. It was like the first book written on how to write screenplays. And the thing about that one, which I mentioned in my previous video, was that a lot of people read that book, and they submitted their screenplays to Hollywood, and the Hollywood people in Hollywood would say that they're too cookie cutter and formulaic. So that's going to address another book that I'll show you, which I think Sid Field Screenplay is a great screenwriting book, but there's another significant one which I'm going to show in a little while. Not a little while. We're 33 minutes in. And it's, what time is it? It's 8:38. It won't take too long to get there, but I'm not going to go to it immediately. You'll see it eventually. None of it, soon. Hi, John. This is a book called How Not to Write a Screenplay: 101 Common Mistakes Most Screenwriters Make. Denny Martin Flynn. So I took a few screenwriting classes. I took one in adult continuing education. I took a few of those, and I took one at the New School. And I think the valuable lesson I learned from the New School one was, even though I really have been writing screenplays, is characters don't say what they're thinking usually. They use body language and the way they talk, their inflection of their voice relays as to what they're really, what it's subtext is what she said to me, is what's important, about a character. Probably it's not the only important thing about screenwriting, but it's a good lesson to learn. I think. I don't know. This book I read, I think it's pretty good. Making a Good Script Great, by Linda Seeger. A Guide for Writing and Rewriting, by Hollywood script consultant Linda Seeger. I mentioned last stream, I believe, Sid Field had this philosophy or theory or whatever you want to call it. When you write the script out, before you write the script, I suppose called The Business of Film. I'm not sure. I'll get back to you on that, Sasha. On the Mark Kermo things, I might have watched them. I can't remember. Sorry if maybe they got lost. I just things went by me. I'll try and figure it out. What was I saying? Oh, so Sid Field, he wants you to write in a certain pattern. Like you don't write a screenplay like you write a novel. You have to know the ending and the beginning and the middle before you write it. You write what do you call that? A synopsis, or like a few sentences about what the film's about, and you have to be really specific. You can't say, well, this film is about the terrible effects of war. You have to be more specific. Like this film is about Vietnam, about a veteran who came from California, who lost his leg. It has to be more specific, but anyways, he'd say things like create an outline before you write the script. And he also had this index card thing where you write each scene on a credit index card, and you could mix the cards around on the floor and try to figure out what flowed better. So it's interesting theories, This is The Art of Adaptation, Turning Fact and Fiction into Film, how to transfer novels, plays, and true life stories into screenplays. And another book by Linda Seeger. I think I've read both of these books, but I'm not positive. But good to have around. This is From Script to Screen, another Linda Seeger book, The Collaborative Art of Filmmaking. Linda Seeger and Edward J. Wetmore. So it's with the director and the actors and behind the scenes collaboration, the design and the editor. I can't remember who said it, but like somebody said, like a film is made 3 times. Once there's a script, twice when they film the movie, and then the 3rd time when they edit it. This is Nuts and Bolts Filmmaking by Dan Rommel. Practical Techniques for the Guerrilla Filmmaker. I don't know if this is... you know what? I think it's like to construct things like dollies and using like you see here, weight equipment, or how to create a dolly like with a wheelchair, dolly tracks. See? So you save money instead of buying actual professional gear. You have to think outside the box, I would have to say. If you have a limited amount of money, you have to think, how can we do this cheaper and still make it look effective, That's why I'm saying, like CGI, sometimes you can find a cheaper alternative. It's just how all you have to do is convince the audience. They have no idea how much money you spent, just as long as they're convinced, as long as they're suspending their disbelief, you don't really have to worry. You know what I mean? I just thought of something Aaron Sorkin said in his, what do you call that thing? Masterclass Commercial. He said, don't tell the audience what they already know or something. What did they say? What did he say? Yeah, something like that. Like don't treat the audience like they're stupid. Brecht on theater. This is not exactly film, but it could translate to it in a certain sense, I guess. I think I got that for some reason. Creating Unforgettable Characters, another Linda Seeger book. Practical Guide to Character Development in Film, TV series, advertisements, novels, and short stories. Of course, like TV has dramatically changed. I think with TV, like in the 80s, it was very hard to put your foot in the door compared to filmmaking. But now, like, and now they have, like, loads of online festivals and contests and competitions, screenwriting competitions, film competitions, workshops, and you can do a competition where the people that are judging are people that work in Hollywood. So what was I addressing? Oh, well, yeah, just that, like in the 80s, it's hard to get your foot in the door as far as TV went, but these days it's a little different. So at least that's what I think. I'll just speed by this one real fast. Another GarageBand book, GarageBand for Dummies. Again, possibly could be dated. I think I read this book. I have some Dummies books. I think I like the idiot ones more, but they're about the same. I mentioned the Complete Idiot's Guide to Screenwriting. That has a very good piece of advice in it. I think that's very good to do if you want to be a screenwriter, and that is write 3 pages per day of a screenplay. And if it's a film is like approximately 120 pages, let's say, which is 2 hours, so each page is a minute. So if you write 3 pages per day in 3 months, you'll have your screenplay finished. That's basically the deal. But of course, then you had to rewrite it and all that stuff. So this is the director's team, a practical guide for production managers, assistant directors, and all filmmakers by Alon Silver and Elizabeth Ward. So, like the assistant director, he makes sure that that he's got the actors for the day, the catering, the props. He makes sure all of that happens. So technically, he's not really a director; he's like a coordinator, but that's what his job is. Here's a fun book, Writing the Action Adventure Film, The Moment of Truth by Neil Hicks. So if you want to get right into like a niche, this book might help you. This one, I don't know, maybe it's dated. I don't know, it looked kind of cool. I don't know. Breakfast with Sharks, a screenwriter's guide to getting the meeting, making the pitch, signing the deal, and navigating the murky waters of Hollywood by Michael Lent. Forward by Michael Medavoy, chairman of Phoenix Pictures. Yeah. So we're getting to the end now. This is cinematography for directors. Shows, I think it tries to help you with painting there. Is that paintings or are those films? That's a picture from 7. Oh, I don't know what that is. Is that 7? Oh, that's Lorenzo's oil. Yeah, there's like Caravaggio there. And I think it's Apocalypse Now. Yeah. So Goodfellas. If you want a book about composing music for a movie, getting the best score for your film, Filmmaker's Guide to Music Scoring. And I should mention, last night I watched this movie about movie composers and how they score movies. I'll be reviewing that probably the end of this week. But anyways, here's this book for you, for people to read. Music editor. There's kind of a complicated. Well, maybe I should get to in the review, but it's very kind of complex. Sometimes the composer of the film, he has a conductor do the conducting. Then there's one guy that takes the takes and chooses the best ones, and there's another guy that adjusts the levels on the mixing board in the studio. And I don't know, it's complicated, but getting the best score for your film. 3 more books left here. Screenwriting from the Soul by Richard Crevel. And I if I can remember this book. This is like an inspirational book, I believe. Really good. I haven't read it in a long time, but I highly. Oh, you know what? It is. This is the book. This is the book that's written similar to, I think it's called Letters to a Young Poet by Rainey Maria Rilke. It's the same kind of thing. It's written. Yes, it's written in letters, like the screenwriter's asking his mentor, I have problems here. The guy's writing back. He's giving him advice. I like this book a lot. So it's Screenwriting for this from the Soul by Richard Crevelin. 2 more books. And these are pretty big books and pretty important books. And I mentioned these. I didn't know where they were, and here they are. So I highly, highly, highly recommend these books. The Complete Independent Movie Marketing Handbook by Mark Steven Bosco. Just ways to think of getting your film out there, getting it shown. What are your hooks? Distributor functions, soliciting distributors. Maybe the distributor thing is a little different, but it see back in the 80s, 90s, when you made a movie, you had to get a distributor, and he usually took you for a ride and took your money from you. I'm not really speaking from experience. I'm speaking from reading about it. But so like he'd take you for a ride, and he'd make a lot of money off of your film. And your second movie is where you'd start to gain some traction and get some control. And this talks about self-distribution here. It shows you how to think outside the box. It's saying things here like, if I can find the page, utilizing the media. But there was like one thing here that was on this. There's a page here that was, I thought, pretty good point. But yeah, I think it was just mentioning, like, if you make a movie that's religious, show it at churches. If there's a movie about basketball players, show it at like a school that, like a college that supports basketball players. So you're finding a niche audience. You're finding a way to sell your movie, that kind of a thing. Or if you're making a film about cancer, you're showing it to you're taking it to medical schools or something like that, But you're trying to make the most out of your film. And this is what I highly recommend. This is a Michael Weiss book too. And as Sasha asked, this is one of the best books you can read about screenwriting. This is the last book for tonight. This is the end, almost the end of the stream for tonight. And after I show this, so this is Robert McKee's story. I highly recommend this book, especially if you want to write screenplays. This is the book to read. Sid Field Screenplay Yes, it's probably one of the most essential as well. Um, it was the book that started the people wanting, writing screenplays and all that kind of stuff. Um, but this this tackles, like, it says, like, you have to know three act story structure, and then you can start breaking the rules and write making films like eight and a half. And it gives you like three different types of screenplays. Like one's like La Ventura, another one is like Star Wars or Raiders of the Lost Ark, maybe, or whatever. And then there's like a third one. But anyways, this really helps. Um, don't let the big size fool you. You can get through it. There's also an audio version, I think. The person I know uh, sent me the audio version of this, but this is fantastic. I can't recommend this highly enough. And he also doesn't have his own. He also has his own workshops over weekends. It's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And the first 2 days he teaches you, he lectures, and then the third day he breaks down Casablanca. Last I knew, I used to get the story um, events in the mail, but anyways, this is a good book if you want to read a good book about screenwriting. They even recommend it to people that are novelists, and also I'd recommend this to people that won't even write screenplays, like they'll direct or they'll do cinematography. I think I think this is a good book to read. So that finishes it. So I'm not sure if I'll do another stream tomorrow or not. I have to think about it. But if I do, I think I'll put up a notice probably at home when I get home after work tomorrow, and I'll go from there. So, anyways, not quite the same, but how far is appearance shot at? Yeah, so Hot Fuzz really they generated a lot of publicity for Hot Fuzz, Sasha, right? With showing it in the town it was made. It was a marketing strategy or something. Would you say? Is that what you're saying? Um, anyways, so thank you everybody who's been watching, everybody who will watch later. Um, you know, as I go into the hour uh, talking about books or showing movies, my voice starts getting a little hoarse because I've been talking and talking and talking. I've been on for about 53 minutes, and I think it's time for me to get a drink, and the locals are proud of it. Okay, all right, yeah, it's good. Like they show Lord of the Rings in New Zealand and Wellington because of they made it there, I guess. Okay, so anyways, thank you everybody for watching. Sasha, John, Need Gore. Um, let me just see who else was here. Horror DVD Devil 333. Who else was here? I guess who else? Let's see. John Constantin. I think I covered everybody. I don't know if other people were watching um, that I don't see. See, I see two people right now. A second ago it was one. Now it says two. So, anyways, um, I guess that's it. I'm gonna wrap this up, and thank you very much for watching. If you watch us after the stream, thank you again, and I'll see you in the near future. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye now.